This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
And good morning. The time right now is 4:27 here on our Thursday. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Nicole Griffin. Thank you for starting your morning with us here on Good Morning Indiana.
Before we get into the show, we do want to get to some of our top stories today. And here's something that a lot of people have been talking about. The governor, during his press conference yesterday afternoon, announced that most of the state was ready to move to stage 3 on Friday. That's actually a couple days earlier than what we were originally expecting. He said we've kind of earned the right to do that, if you will. People have been safe for the most part, and they're keeping track of the hospital numbers, the number of cases, the number of deaths, and so they believe we've stayed steady enough and not peaked so we can move to this next stage. So here's what that means. Gyms, fitness centers, those are allowed to open up with proper sanitation and social distancing, of course. Social gatherings of up to 100 people are now allowed, so that is an increase. Community pools and campgrounds will be allowed to open starting Friday, and retailers and malls that are non-essential, they're allowed to now operate at 75% capacity. Just a reminder, Marion County isn't really into stage 2 fully yet, so that county is not following this yet, and so we'll continue to keep you updated on what this means for people across the state.
And Lauren, there are concerns this morning over the safety at the Johnson County Jail after nearly half of the jail's inmates tested positive for COVID-19. This morning we will hear from a person who has a family member inside the jail. She is outlining her concerns about the safety due to inmates being close together in that facility. She has a variety of different concerns. We are also hearing from the sheriff this morning about the steps that they are taking to keep the inmates inside the jail safe. So we will have that story coming up. But now let's get to your Storm Team 6 forecast. Meteorologist Todd Clausen standing by. Todd, if you're heading out the door, you need a jacket at this hour.
Yeah, good morning, Nicole, and thanks for joining us here on Good Morning Indiana. It is a little on the cool side today as we are sitting in the 50s right now all across central Indiana. But the good news is radar is nice and quiet for us. As you look in the center of your screen, 52 in Logansport, 55 in Muncie. What the radar does not show is the cloud cover that is out there, and there is still a lot of cloud cover that will be hanging around throughout the day today. So it's another mostly cloudy day for us. It's a touch warmer than it was yesterday, so that's the good news at least, and we can't rule out maybe the chance of a stray PM shower. Nothing significant, nothing that's going to hamper any outdoor plans, whether you're going for a walk, a bike ride, or something else, maybe just grilling out this evening, but just know that it is possible. We're still on track though for that real warm air to arrive as we head into the holiday weekend. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Coming up in the 6 o'clock hour, we have a story as part of our Rebound Indiana initiative where we're helping you get through this pandemic and out on the other side. So our Stephanie Wade is going to bring us a story about Hawthorne Center and how it's helping people in need during this time. We'll have that story plus news, weather, and traffic coming up right here on Good Morning Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Governor Eric Holcomb says most of Indiana will be able to move into phase 3 of reopening sooner than expected. Working for You will explain the changes ready to go into effect tomorrow.
After being closed for months, salon and barbershop workers in Marion County demanding to be included in reopening plans, why they say it should be safe for them to open their doors now. And
nearly half of inmates at the Johnson County Jail have tested positive for COVID-19. What the sheriff says is being done to address concerns from prisoners' loved ones. The time right now is 4:30 here. It is Thursday morning. Thanks for joining us on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey. It is great to have someone else here in the studio with me today. Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning, Lauren. I am happy to be here, and meteorologist Todd Clausen joining us from his home studio as we continue to practice social distancing. Todd, you're saying today's just going to be mainly a cloudy day moving forward.
Yeah, Nicole, it's very similar to yesterday. The only real difference is today is going to be a little bit warmer than it was yesterday. Yesterday, really kind of in the afternoon, had that fall-like feel with temperatures that were only in the 50s, and we still sit in the 50s here this morning. 54 in Greencastle, 55 in Indianapolis, 56 is the current temperature in Bedford, Richmond, sitting right at 50 degrees. So as we work our way throughout the course of the day today, the clouds are still present across the area, and we're still talking about this real slow moving area of low pressure that is spinning away just down to our south. And just like yesterday, it's going to try to pinwheel a few of these showers into central Indiana. And at times later on this afternoon, there could be a stray stray shower in eastern locations. But overall, we're just dealing with cloudy skies throughout the day today. And with those clouds, a little bit warmer, as I mentioned, about 62 degrees by the noon hour. A high today of 65, but not a whole lot in the way of sunshine. We do get some sunshine back tomorrow. More on that coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We're keeping a close eye on traffic as you're heading to work early on this Thursday morning. Here's something you need to keep in mind if you're heading into the downtown area on northbound I-65 as you're heading into the North Split and you're going to continue on northbound I-65. You will have to shift out of the right lane that's closed for road work right now as you're coming around the ramp. And then as you get up to the Meridian Pennsylvania Street exit, that is closed this morning, and we have 3 lanes of the interstate closed, so you'll have to scoot all the way over into one left lane as you head north of downtown. So if you're trying to get into downtown, you normally take Meridian Street there as your exit off the North Split. You will need to take this exit, I-65 to West Street and MLK, reroute through downtown that way, or you can continue northbound. But again, we do have those lane restrictions, so you'll want to take it very slow. This is an active construction site. Of course, we'll continue to keep you updated. But now it is 4:33. We do begin this morning with breaking news. An investigation is underway after police found a person dead inside a vehicle. Police tell RTV6 that a patrol officer was in the area of East Washington and Pine Streets around 3 a.m. when the body was found. Medics determined that the person died from an apparent gunshot wound, and detectives believe that the shooting did not happen at this location, and they're unsure if anyone else was in the car. Police have not released any information on a suspect at this time. Well, Governor Eric Holcomb says Indiana can move into the next stage of reopening a little sooner than expected. He will sign a new executive order today to initiate phase 3 in most parts of the state.
Yeah, the change will begin on Friday, which is 2 days earlier than originally scheduled. Here's what the next phase will look like. Gyms and fitness centers can open with social distancing guidelines. Social gatherings can include up to 100 people, and community pools and campgrounds can now reopen. Retail stores and malls can now open at 75% capacity. The governor says Hoosiers still need to do their part to help prevent the coronavirus from spreading.
What I don't want to see happen is we let our guard down, or we're not vigilant, or we think, well, it's just, you know, they say this is the most important week every week, and so therefore it can't be. Well, it is, and our actions matter. And so as time goes by, I hope we don't let down our guard.
This reopening plan does not include Marion County. Marion County can move forward to stage 3 on June 1st at the earliest. Right now, Marion County is not even in stage 2 in many aspects. For example, dining in restaurants is still restricted, and only outdoor dining will be allowed starting Friday.
It is 4:34. Personal service businesses like salons and barbershops, they're not allowed to open yet in Marion County. Many of those business owners are frustrated, so they took to the streets to protest in downtown. Shops have been closed since March, and under Mayor Joe Hogstett's current plan, they will not be able to open until at least June 1st. Demonstrators say the ongoing restrictions are hurting their business because salons in other counties are allowed to operate. They want government officials to know that reopening the shops will be safe.
We are here to make them understand that I have 14 stylists that went to school, and they have learned so much about sanitizing. More than any retail center, more than any hardware store. They didn't take classes on sanitation, and they've been open since day one.
Well, Stevens says they need an emergency reopening to provide income to stylists and barbers who are considered self-employed, many of whom are still waiting for unemployment benefits.
Across Indiana, more than 1,700 people have died from COVID-19. 505 of those are in Marion County. The Indiana State Department of Health reports 38 new deaths between May 3rd and Tuesday. 581 new cases have also been reported, bringing the state's total to more than 29,000. More than 195,000 people have been tested for the virus. 15% have tested positive. And concerns over safety are being raised at the Johnson County Jail after nearly half of the jail's inmates tested positive for COVID-19. The county sheriff reported 2 weeks ago that 127 of the 261 inmates have the virus. Now family members are worried about the safety of their loved ones. Zarian Conrad tells RTV6 her partner Tiaja Evans has been at the jail for a little more than a week, and she hasn't been able to get many answers from jail staff. She says Tiaja Deja is sharing a cell with 3 other women, one of whom may be sick. Conrad says they are also given limited opportunities to shower.
I'm not saying it's supposed to be luxurious during jail, you know what I mean? But I'm saying it should be standard, everything that is should be cleaned up. It shouldn't be a privilege for a shower, like a shower should be mandatory.
We asked Johnson County Sheriff Dwayne Burgess about how they are addressing these concerns.
We're all living with different types of restrictions. We try to address those the best that we can. On the 26th, that will be 14 days from when we had everybody tested. And that's a date that I can't wait to get here. Then we can kind of get back to some normal operations.
Sheriff Burgess says getting back to normal operations could mean lifting quarantine restrictions for inmates, but he will follow the advice of his medical staff to figure out what's next.
At 4:37, the entire country is now moving back to some sort of pre-pandemic life, but the death toll here in the United States is more than 93,000. So that's rising some debates as to how quickly states should reopen. ABC's Alex Perche has more now from Washington.
All 50 states now easing restrictions, some more quickly than others. In Michigan, these barbers on the state capitol lawn pushing for a faster reopening, offering free haircuts, many without face masks, some armed. Connecticut started reopening yesterday.
If you don't want to go back to work, don't go back to work. But don't deny the rest of us.
Allowing malls and retailers to open at 50% capacity. Restaurants measuring table distance for outdoor dining only. Casinos in Oklahoma back open for business. Customers betting big on new safety measures like mandatory face masks and temperature screenings. A tone of confidence set by Vice President Pence, seen here with Florida's governor in Orlando, eating a burger, neither wearing a mask, but temperature checks for staff and patrons here. New York's governor still urging residents to wear masks.
They are protective and they work. Wear a mask.
Each state moving ahead with its own plan as the CDC finally releases its detailed guidelines for reopening. Recommendations like sneeze guards in restaurants and bars. In schools, face coverings for staff and older students, but not for children under 2. A positive case could completely close a school for cleaning. But there's already restlessness. Leaders in Tulare County, California voted to allow businesses and churches to reopen, defying state health orders. Illinois State Rep Darren Bailey was removed from the chamber for refusing to comply with safety measures. Potential setbacks still a major concern. Just 24 hours after the big 3 automakers restarted production, Ford temporarily shutting down its plants in Chicago and Michigan after 3 returning workers tested positive. When you talk about business concerns, another part of that is the economy, right? More than 36 million Americans have filed for unemployment over the last 2 months. We're going to get another report this morning where that number is expected to grow. Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
It is 4:34. Social distancing and isolation and financial concerns, they can take a big toll on our mental health. The Rebound Indiana is sharing advice and resources you can use to cope with the impacts of the pandemic. Dr. Virginia Kane, director of the Marion County Public Health Department, is one of 3 experts who will be discussing mental health issues faced by African American women during a virtual town hall today. Dr. Kane says the main thing she wants women to take away from the conversation is to take care of themselves.
If you're ill, you're not going to be able to help anybody. If you're emotionally so sad, that translates those emotions, go to your family members, to your children, and it impacts them negatively. So the number one person we're telling you, take care of yourself.
Well, the town hall is hosted by the Links Incorporated. Dr. Kane plans to share resources, ways to recognize mental health issues in children and adults, plus tips anyone can use to relieve anxiety. You can find the discussion streaming at 6 p.m. this evening on the RTV6 Facebook page.
Coming up, documents revealed there were already known issues with a broken Michigan dam that has devastated thousands with flooding. Coming up, the warning the federal government gave more than 20 years ago.
And Peyton Manning and Tom Brady are ready to face off again, but not on the football field. Still ahead, the trash talk already ahead of their charity golf tournament. Todd.
And Lauren, I've been watching some of that leading up to the event on Sunday, and Peyton, he's pretty funny, and so is Phil there with those guys. So that'll be fun to watch later on this weekend when we bring in some warmer temperatures. And speaking of warmer temperatures, they're starting to build in. We don't have a lot of sunshine today in the forecast, but the overall trend will bring in the summertime warmth. We'll talk all about it coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast. The time now is 4:41. Stay with us. We're back in just a couple minutes.
Days from 4:30 to 7.
Welcome back. New from overnight, police are investigating a shooting on Indy's north side. It left one man in critical condition. Officers say this happened around 11 on Brookside Avenue near 16th and Broadway. When they arrived, they found a 20-year-old man suffering from at least one gunshot wound. Officers believe the victim was shot while he was inside his vehicle. Police have not released any suspect information at this time.
In Hamilton County, the sheriff's office says help from the community led investigators to a driver wanted in connection to a deadly hit and run. Daniel Sullivan is accused of hitting and killing a 70-year-old woman Tuesday afternoon, then driving away. Alice Chamblin was walking along Anthony Road near Cicero when the truck hit her. Investigators say they identified Sullivan as a suspect after sharing a description of the vehicle on social media. Sullivan is preliminarily charged with leaving the scene of a crash causing death.
Well, businesses looking to get back to work are also looking for legal protections. You may have to sign a liability waiver before you go into places like a gym, a pool, even a doctor's office, basically saying if you get sick with COVID, you can't sue them. Lawyers say it's important to know what you're signing and why. You should always read through the entire thing. If you decide not to sign the waiver, you may be refused services. Businesses may also put up signs saying enter at your own risk. However, lawyers say those won't prevent them from getting sued.
There's new federal recommendations for meatpacking plants, but the fact that they're not mandatory has employees concerned. OSHA and the CDC suggest that companies have physical barriers between workers, enforce social distancing, and install more hand sanitizing stations. However, the guidelines are not considered standard and will not be enforced. Many meatpacking plants across the U.S. have experienced outbreaks of the coronavirus. Union leaders are calling on federal authorities for more rule enforcement.
Well, federal documents show that a dam breach that caused devastating flooding in Michigan has been more than 20 years in the making. The Edenville Dam failed after heavy rains on Tuesday, sending floodwaters into downtown Midland. Thousands of people were evacuated, but documents on the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission's website show that in 1999, regulators were warned that the structure could not handle a massive flood. The operator was told to expand the spillways, but officials say that was never done. The company that currently runs the dam, Boyce Hydro, has not responded for comment, but its attorney wrote 2 years ago that serious financial problems have gotten in the way of constructing those spillways.
In India, at least 12 people have died in a large cyclone. The storm named Cyclone Amphan hit the country late yesterday with powerful winds and heavy rain. Thousands of homes have been damaged and more areas along the coast of Bangladesh have been affected as well. Authorities are working to evacuate millions of people, but say the process is complicated by the coronavirus. Experts say the storm is equivalent to a Category 2 hurricane. It is 4:47. Let's get a check of your Storm Team 6 forecast with Todd.
Hey, Nicole, we are dealing with pretty quiet conditions here this morning across the area. Really not much has changed from when you went to bed last night to what we're dealing with here this morning, and that is overcast skies, as you can see from downtown to the north. Temperatures right now on this Thursday morning, they sit in the 50s. 55 in Indianapolis, 56 is the current temperature in Bloomington, as well as Muncie. So the clouds are still in place across the area, and as we expand out, you notice not much has changed since yesterday. I've been talking about this area of low pressure all week long. It is just the slow-moving area of low pressure, and it's just been kind of waddling around first the Midwest and now the Southeast, and you can currently see the spin just north of Atlanta. And with the counterclockwise flow, it's still trying to pinwheel some showers here into central Indiana, and on the backside of it, it is very dry with that counterclockwise rotation. So from time to time throughout the day today, there will be the potential for maybe a hit or miss shower across parts of the area, and it's mainly going to be during the afternoon hours. I think the morning hours are going to be completely dry with just those cloudy skies, and then going forward into the afternoon, watch how a few of these showers just kind of make their way into the area here and there. If you do see them, they are going to be very, very light. We are not going to be dealing with any heavy rainfall, and I don't really even think this would hamper if you're going for a walk outside. If you see one of these showers, it would be very, very brief in those eastern locations. So I wouldn't really plan around the showers. Just know that they're possible later on this afternoon and into the evening hours. Now, with the clouds in place, temperatures today, they'll do a little bit better than they did yesterday. Yesterday, we got caught in the mid to upper 50s for the most part. Today, we should be able to get up into the mid 60s. The reason is the clouds, while still present, will be a little bit thinner than they were yesterday. Yesterday, the clouds, they were really, really thick. Now, tomorrow, the clouds thin even more, and as a result, it's a little bit warmer for your Friday. Friday, we're looking at temperatures that'll be climbing up into the low to mid 70s across the area. And then we get to the holiday weekend, Memorial Day. It is looking warm, but we're also going to have the chance of some showers and storms. So Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, high temperatures will be in the 80s. We're going to carry the 80s over into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So the summer-like warmth builds in, but we also will have to deal with scattered showers and storms. They're just some spotty storms as we get into Saturday and Sunday. And then late Memorial Day and Tuesday and Wednesday, we increase the coverage of the storms across the area. So there will be some wet times this weekend, but the trade-off, Nicole, those warm temperatures climb all the way up into the mid-80s.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Looking forward to that. Well, Facebook and Instagram are trying to do their part to help small businesses who may be struggling during this pandemic. They're rolling out a new feature called Shops. It's a place where businesses can go to create their own online portal for people to buy products. The best part, it doesn't cost anything to set up. As part of the shop, you'll be able to contact the business directly if you have any questions.
Well, the trash talk has already begun as Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, Tiger Woods, and Phil Mickelson prepare for a charity golf tournament. Woods and Manning will face Mickelson and Brady in the Capital One's The Match Champions for charity. It's in Florida this weekend. All four participated in a video interview on the Bleacher Report yesterday, and Manning took the chance to joke about Brady switching NFL teams.
I'll be honest, I've never played Tom very well on his home turf, and so maybe this is considered a neutral site, and I would have loved to have had this tournament in a place where they don't like Tom very much. Indianapolis, Denver, Boston, after he just betrayed them and broke their hearts. So Palm Beach is the best we can probably do.
Well, the event aims to raise $10 million to help fight COVID-19. The match begins on Sunday at 2 p.m. That'll be on TNT. Looking forward to that. Well, with everyone at home during the pandemic, some families have found fun and creative ways to spend their time together. After the break, how one family turned dinner time into dozens of theme parties.
And Indigo says it is ready to return bus routes back to their regular schedules. Coming up all new at 5, the measures they are taking to make sure riders and drivers are still practicing social distancing. It's 4:52. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. We'll be right back.
$25 for a 1-month or 3-month prescription.
Quarantine has brought out a new level of creativity in many people, including at dinner time. A family in Maryland held 50 different theme night meal times and shared the fun on social media. It all started with their 14-year-old's idea for an 80s night. From there, they did Pac-Man, Where's Waldo, Putt-Putt, and more. And they made all of their costumes out of things they already had at home.
We repurposed a lot of Amazon boxes as far as cardboard. We made the Mayflower and we were pilgrims one night. We made a giant Easter basket for Easter.
The family says they enjoyed the time together and bringing smiles to people's faces on social media, making the best of the situation, Todd.
That's what you have to do these days, Nicole, no doubt about that. So looks fun there as they're getting all dressed up and playing. Oh, there's the togas. All right, outside right now we are dealing with cloudy skies, and that's the way it's going to be throughout the day today. 65 degrees as we get into tomorrow. A little more in the way of sunshine. Still a stray shower chance tomorrow. Our rain chances aren't completely nil tomorrow, but they're pretty small, 75. Then into the 80s starting on Saturday all the way through Wednesday, but with the warmth will come those summer-like pop-up storms as well, especially especially as we get into the afternoon hours. We'll dive into some forecasts in more detail coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on RTV6.